It was one of those moments when I just wanted to escape, leave everything behind, and never turn back. I couldn't shout out my frustrations. All I could do was silently endure the stress caused by my family. My dad and stepmom clashed like angry lions fighting over a scrap of meat. Peace was nowhere in sight, and I often wished I could vanish into a hole and stay hidden forever. I kept praying to God, hoping each day would bring some relief, but it never did. Things just never improved. Sleep became my only solace. The weight of being ignored and mistreated by my stepmother grew heavier every day. Some nights, lying in bed, I wondered if anyone in my family or among my friends would notice if I disappeared. Would tears be shed? The only love I had felt came from my dad, but lately, even that was slipping away. The fights escalated, becoming more violent, and there were moments when I found my dad in tears, pleading for a miracle. Night fell, and I sat in my room for what felt like hours. The annoying ticking of the clock above only added to my frustration. The heated arguments between my father and stepmother had silenced. Anxiety gripped me, and without thinking, I rushed to the door. As I reached for the doorknob, it swung open on its own. A tired man stood there. My dad. His face bore the marks of the abuse inflicted by my stepmother. Without a second thought, I took my father's hand, determined that enough was enough. I pushed my way past my enraged stepmother, her face filled with fury. Quickly, I got my father into the car on the passenger side and hurried to the driver's seat. My stepmother cursed my name as I fumbled to find the car keys. "Amila!" she hoarsely yelled. Ignoring her, my only goal was to get my father away. I struggled to find the keys in the glove compartment. Suddenly, a loud bang on the car window shocked me. I saw my stepmother holding a baseball bat, hitting it against the glass. Terrified, I looked at her while desperately searching for the keys. My father screamed, grabbed the keys from the glove compartment, shoved me out of the driver's seat, and started the car. We sped off, leaving behind a trail of smoke and skid marks on the driveway. Panic surged through me, and I begged my father to slow down, but the car only sped up. Losing control, the vehicle spun wildly, tossing me and my father around. The car slammed into a streetlight. The seatbelt that kept me in my car seat snapped, propelling me out of the front window. I landed some distance away, knocked out cold upon impact. The world felt distant as the cold ground pressed against me, sending shivers across my skin. I woke abruptly, engulfed in intense pain. My head throbbed from the harsh landing. I touched the ground, expecting to hear the usual sounds, but all I encountered was eerie silence. No people talking, no birds chirping, just the lifeless alarm from the wrecked car. A cool breeze brushed my face, gently tousling my hair. I struggled to my feet, calling out for my dad. "Dad?" No answer. I shouted my father's name repeatedly, but there was no response. My voice grew tired, fearing not only losing my father, but my voice as well. Exhausted, I stepped back and rubbed my eyes. The more I rubbed, the more the light faded, plunging me into darkness. An uneasy feeling crept over me, and when I opened my eyes, a blinding spotlight greeted me. I was surrounded by total darkness, with a faint jingling sound echoing around me. Disembodied laughter heightened my anxiety. Hoping it was my father, I called out, "Hey, hello, Dad, is that you?" Minutes passed with no reply, confirming my fears. I began to backtrack, the hairs on my neck standing up as I swiftly turned around. In vivid colors of blue, magenta, and teal, a towering jester stood before me, exuding a playful air. The jester appeared bored, but noticed my presence. Not a word escaped him, only the soft jingling of bells tied to the ends of his blue hair. I couldn't look away from his flamboyant features, bringing life to the dark surroundings. The jester approached me with a grin that left me uncertain. I couldn't fathom how I ended up in this dark void or where this mysterious figure came from. The jester grabbed my attention, pulling off tricks that would astonish anyone. One of his tricks involved a purple balloon mysteriously appearing in his hand, complete with a smiley face. He looked at me and offered it, but I hesitated. He was a stranger, and I didn't have time for entertainment. I needed to find my father. I took a few steps back and turned around, only to find him once again in front of me. The jester seemed disappointed and offered the purple balloon again, tirelessly. Unsettled by the silence, I gathered courage and asked, "Who are you?" in a low voice. The jester stayed silent. I asked again, but he responded by pulling out a card with a letter on it. The card danced around him, spelling out a name. I glared at the cards and read the name he presented. "Candy Pop," I answered. His only reply was a wide, long grin. Each smirk sent chills down my spine, making me feel something was off, though I couldn't figure out what. He resumed his tricks, this time making the purple balloon disappear and conjuring up 3 different lollipops, one blue, another different, and another unlike the rest. Not knowing what to say or ask, I watched in silence as he continued without uttering a word. He opened my hand and placed the lollipops inside, closing my fist around them. The jester then made the same purple balloon reappear, but this time he backed away and crouched, making the sound of stretched plastic echo in the silence. When he turned back towards me, he had crafted a balloon in the shape of a flower. Presenting a sweet and kind smile, the jester seemed friendly. Unsure why he insisted on me taking his balloon, I decided to trust him and accepted it. As I examined the balloon, Candy Pop's expression shifted from sweet to sinister. Startled, I backed away, hugging the balloon tightly. Suddenly, my body lifted off the ground, floating higher and higher into the light. "Whoa, what is this?" I whimpered, unable to release the balloon. It seemed stuck to me. The light above grew brighter, and I found myself moving towards the burning light. Glancing back down, I saw the ominous jester waving goodbye. Looking closer, I noticed his shadow didn't match his figure. The shadow on the floor twisted into devilish horns and a tail. When I tried to look back at the jester, his face distorted, and multiple whispers surrounded me. My head spun, and I closed my eyes, desperately wishing the dream would end. The bright lights burned even brighter until my father's faint voice broke through. "Amila! Amila! Wake up! Amila!" His calls echoed, and I felt a chilling coldness, as if I had been dead. Frightened, I hugged myself, unknowingly popping the balloon. Opening my eyes, the blinding lights transformed into streetlights above. My father knelt beside me, checking if I was all right. Almost instantly, I embraced him, crying uncontrollably, ignoring the pain. He looked down at me with concern. Soon, I found myself in the hospital. My dad, exhausted but determined, carried me the entire way. I was relieved to be away from my stepmother, grateful to have survived with my father. 3 months passed since the car crash, but an uneasy feeling lingered. I pushed the thoughts aside, sighing deeply as I stared out the window. Rain fell, much like the day we left my stepmother. The doctor startled me by opening the door, likely here to check on my progress. I turned toward him, noticing his back facing me. When he turned, he held something in his hand as he quietly spoke. "You popped the last balloon I gave you, but don't worry, Amila. I got you a new one." "What did you think about the mysterious jester, Candy Pop? Were you surprised by the sudden change in Candy Pop's demeanor? How did the suspenseful moments in the story make you feel? Did the twist involving the shadow and the distorted face of the jester catch you off guard? What are your thoughts on the ending, with the doctor mentioning a new balloon for Alexa? Share your thoughts, and if you crave more suspenseful tales, hit follow for more chilling stories.